Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this explosive edition of entertainment news where the worlds of classic television royalty and modern daytime divas collide in a way no one saw coming. Imagine the set of Sherri Shepherd's hit talk show, buzzing with the energy of a live audience, the lights gleaming off polished floors, and the faint scent of fresh coffee mingling with excitement in the air. It's a typical Thursday morning in October 2025, and the guest list is star-studded as always: comedic legends, rising stars, and heartfelt stories ready to unfold. But today, something shifts. The door to the green room swings open, and in walks Marla Gibbs, the 94-year-old icon whose sassy portrayal of Florence Johnston on the Jeffersons still has us quoting lines decades later. Dressed in a vibrant emerald green pantsuit that hugs her timeless figure, accessorized with a pearl necklace that whispers of old Hollywood glamour, Marla exudes that effortless grace, her silver hair styled in soft waves, a warm smile lighting up her face as she greets the crew with hugs and laughter. Sherri Shepherd, the vivacious host whose infectious energy has made her show a staple since its 2022 debut, bounces over in her signature bold red dress, the kind that screams confidence and curves in all the right places, her heels clicking authoritatively against the stage floor. "Marla, honey, you look like you just stepped out of a time machine of fabulousness," Sherri exclaims, pulling her into a bear hug that draws chuckles from the nearby staff. The two women, both trailblazers in their own rights, Marla with over 7 decades in the spotlight, Sherri with her journey from The View to her own Emmy-winning platform, settle into plush armchairs for a pre-show chat, sipping herbal tea as makeup artists dart around, powdering shines and perfecting that camera-ready glow. As the applause dies down and the band eases into a smooth saxophone riff, Sherri leans forward, her eyes wide with genuine awe, launching into the heart of the interview with the warmth that's endeared her to millions. "Marla Gibbs, you are the blueprint for every funny black woman who's ever stolen a scene. Tell us, how does it feel at 94 to still be out here slaying roles that younger actresses can only dream of?" Marla chuckles, that deep, throaty laugh that transports us back to the 70s, her hands gesturing animatedly as she recounts tales from her early days in Detroit, waitressing by day and performing in underground clubs by night, her voice rich with the cadence of a storyteller who's lived 1,000 lives. The audience hangs on every word, nodding in recognition as she describes the grind of breaking into an industry that wasn't always kind to women who look like her, the rejections that fueled her fire, the small triumphs like landing her first commercial that paid just enough for a week's groceries. Sherri interjects with her signature empathy, sharing snippets from her own path, the diabetic complications that nearly sidelined her career, the single motherhood struggles that tested her resilience, drawing parallels that make the moment feel intimate, like two old friends catching up over brunch rather than a televised spectacle. But then, as Marla pauses to sip her water, her expression softening into reflection, Sherri pivots with a question that's equal parts probe and praise. "You've paved the way for so many of us, Marla, but let's get real. Have you ever felt like the younger generation, folks like me, don't always give you the flowers while you're still here blooming?" It's a nod to industry gripes, the ones whispered in green rooms about forgotten pioneers, and Marla's smile falters just a fraction, her eyes narrowing behind her stylish frames as if weighing the sincerity against the subtext. Post-break, the energy rebounds with a comedic skit, Sherri in a wig mimicking Marla's Florence, complete with exaggerated eye rolls and a feather duster prop that sends the crowd into hysterics. But as the laughter fades and they resettle, the conversation takes a sharper turn, delving into the meaty stuff of Hollywood's underbelly, ageism, tokenism, and the eternal dance of who gets credit for progress. Marla, emboldened by the room's affection, opens up about a recent audition where she was asked to tone down the sass for a modern audience, her voice dripping with ironic amusement as she mimics the casting director's plea, drawing gasps and groans from the viewers who know the script all too well. Sherri nods vigorously, her own stories spilling out, like the time on The View when her opinions on body positivity were edited out for being too edgy, her hands flying as she recounts the frustration of being the funny fat girl archetype that boxes you in. It's a sisterhood moment, electric with shared scars, the kind that makes daytime TV addictive. But then Sherri, perhaps aiming to lighten or perhaps to assert, quips, "Girl, but you know us younger ones, we're out here carrying the torch, sometimes we trip over the very path you laid." It's played for laughs, her grin wide, but Marla's response lands like a velvet-gloved slap. "Carrying it? Child, sometimes y'all act like you invented fire, forgetting who struck the match." The studio falls into a stunned hush, the audience's laughter morphing into uneasy titters, cameras zooming in on faces, Sherri's eyebrows arching in surprise, Marla's chin lifted defiantly, the bandleader frozen mid-note. Sherri recovers with a whoop. "Ooh, tell me how you really feel, auntie," but the damage is done, the air crackles with the authenticity of a truth too pointed for soundbites. The tension, once a simmer, now boils over as Sherri, perhaps feeling the sting of implied critique, leans in with a personal edge, her voice dropping to that confessional timbre that hooks viewers. Marla, I got mad love for you, heck, I grew up watching you school George and Wheezy, dreaming of being that bold. But let's flip it, sometimes us younger folks feel like we're still cleaning up the messes, fighting the same fights you say we ignore. It's a raw admission, born from Sherri's history of advocating for plus-size representation and mental health in a cutthroat biz, her eyes pleading for solidarity even as her words challenge. Marla, unflinching, meets her gaze, her response measured but piercing, cleaning up? Baby, the messes are new ones you make, chasing clout over craft, shading sisters for sport instead of lifting as we climb. The audience inhales collectively, the weight of shading sisters hanging heavy, an allusion to Sherri's past on-air jabs at peers that have sparked think pieces and think twice apologies. Sherri's face flushes under the lights, her quick wit faltering as she stammers, I don't shade, I celebrate. Wait, are you talking about that one time with the... But Marla cuts in, her tone rising like a crescendo in a gospel choir, not one time, every time it feels like the crown you wear was borrowed without a thank you note. The studio erupts, gasps, a smattering of claps from Marla's corner, awkward coughs from others as the band jumps in with filler music, but Sherri waves it off, her host instincts kicking in yet laced with hurt. Hold up, auntie, that's not fair, I give props daily, but yeah, maybe I could have done more for you specifically. Chaos ensues in the split-second vacuum left by Marla's exit, the studio lights harsh against the sudden void, as Sherri stands halfway out of her seat, mouth agape in a mix of disbelief and dawning regret, her hands outstretched as if to pull back the moment. Marla, wait, come back, let's talk this through, she calls, her voice cracking over the mic, echoing unnaturally in the charged space, but the legend is gone, vanished into the labyrinth of backstage corridors where crew members part like the Red Sea, murmuring give her space under their breaths. The audience, a sea of wide eyes and frozen postures, breaks into a low buzz, some applauding Marla's boldness, others whispering concerns for Sherri's poise, phones already out capturing the unscripted drama for instant upload to the feeds that never sleep. The director, sweating under his headset, signals frantically for blackout music, a upbeat pop track that clashes absurdly with the mood, while stagehands scurry to fill the time with a hastily pulled B-roll of Marla's greatest hits, clips of her roasting Ralph on the Jeffersons, her deadpan delivery on 227 that birth memes still circulating today. Sherri sinks back into her chair, her red dress suddenly too bright, too exposed, as she forces a laugh that's more breath than mirth. Well, folks, that's Marla Gibbs, keeping it 100, as always. Legend status confirmed. But her eyes betray the turmoil, glistening under the glare, a host's mask slipping to reveal the woman who's navigated betrayals from co-hosts and critics alike, now stung by one she idolized. Backstage, Marla pauses in the green room, her breath steadying as her assistant hands her a cool cloth, the adrenaline of confrontation giving way to a quiet resolve. She scrolls her phone briefly, seeing the first tweets roll in. Marla just bodied Sherri on her own show. #Queen Gibbs, a small smile tugging at her lips, validation in the digital chorus.